Good evening, Westminster Shore residents, and thanks for tuning in to another inspirational story. Tonight's inspirational story is called Who Packed Your Parachute? Charles Plum was a U.S. Navy pilot in Vietnam. After 75 combat missions, his plane was destroyed by a surface-to-air missile. Plum ejected and parachuted into enemy hands. He was captured and spent 6 years in a communist Vietnamese prison. He survived the ordeal and now lectures on lessons learned from that experience. One day, when Plum and his wife were sitting in a restaurant, a man at another table came up and said, "You're Plum. You flew jet fighters in Vietnam from the aircraft carrier Kitty Hawk. You were shot down." "How in the world did you know that?" asked Plum. "I packed your parachute," the man replied. Plum gasped in surprise and gratitude. The man pumped his hand and said, "I guess it worked." Plum assured him, "It sure did. If your chute hadn't worked, I wouldn't be here today." Plum couldn't sleep that night thinking about that man. Plum says, "I kept wondering what he had looked like in a Navy uniform, a white hat, a bib in the back, and a bell-bottom trouser. I wonder how many times I might have seen him and not even said, 'Good morning, how are you?' or anything, you see. I was a fighter pilot and he was just a sailor." Plum thought of the many hours the sailor had spent at a long wooden table in the bowels of the ship, carefully weaving the shrouds and folding silks of each chute, holding in his hands each time the fate of somebody he didn't know. Now, Plum asked his audience, who's packing your parachute? Everyone has someone who provides what they need to make it through the day. He also points out that he needed many kinds of parachutes when his plane was shot down over enemy territory. He needed his physical parachute, his mental parachute, his emotional parachute, and his spiritual parachute. He called on all these supports before reaching safety. As a reflection, sometimes in the daily challenges that life gives us, we all miss what's important. We may fail to say hello, please, or thank you. Congratulate someone on something wonderful that has happened to them. Give a compliment, or just do something nice for no reason. As you go through this week, this month, this year, recognize people who pack your parachutes. Thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening.